Hi everyone, this is Cups bringing another Monster Hunter Rise video, and we're going to be looking at the Gunlance. Now, Gunlance is a weapon I played actually a fair amount in World and Iceborne. I did a lot of long shelling and normal shelling, even some slap lance. I didn't really like to do wide all that much, but all that is still here in the game, and I was very pleased with it, and I'll go into it more here in a little bit. Wanted to give you some changes, some wire bug moves, as well as impressions on what I thought of the weapon. Special thanks to Capcom for giving me an advanced look at the trial. But let's talk about the Gunlance. So Gunlance feels really good. It feels about the same as it did in Iceborne and World. It's a little bit different in some regards. The Wyvern Stake, the little one that you stab in, I think that's what it's called, but it does like a couple hits and things like that. It takes, in World and Iceborne, it took a little bit of time to kind of fire up before the multiple ticks happen, but it seems to happen pretty much right the second that you put the stake in, which is nice. It's not really too crazy, but it still gets the job done. Also, the big blast, the Wyvern Fire Cannon, I can't remember what it's called exactly, but that actually has a guard point on it now, so it'll block while you're charging, which is very nice from the front. It seems to have a decent cone as well. It seems like it can protect you from most things from the front, not directly from the side or from the back or anything like that. Still really good though. It seems like maybe the flinch value is a little bit lower, because I seem to remember, you know, hitting those Wyvern, the big cannons, and flinching the monster a lot more than I did. It was actually getting me hit more often than not. But if you have knowledge of knockdown or part break or something like that, this is still going to be good. And it also seems like maybe its cooldown is a lot longer than it was before. That little bar that's up in the top left lets you know how much longer you have until it's back up. But maybe some focus or something like that make that come around a bit faster. As for most other things, let me think. Yeah, you still have nothing else really when it comes to guarding or anything like that. I was really hoping for some sort of counterattack in this game, but there isn't really much. Also, what happens is the aerial moves a little bit different. Before, whenever you jumped in the air and you hit R2, you do like a big slap on the way down, and this lets you do a little bit of aerial gun lancing, where you jump off and smack the monster and keep jumping off and smacking over and over and over again. But that's been replaced. Whenever you jump in the air and you hit R2, your character will shell just one time. You can continue to shell by pushing A over and over again. I do it a couple times in this hunt where I just keep lifting myself further and further off the ground until you run out of shells. So pretty cool change, but really not all that useful. Honestly, I would have much preferred the big slap into dispelling all your shields if you wanted. But that's been kind of replaced to the Silkbind attacks, which we'll talk about now. The Silkbind attack, the first one is the what's called the Hail Cutter. This lifts your character up in the air and kind of like elevates them and smacks the monster on the way up, and then it reloads all your shells and then does a big slap on the way down, and then you can choose to do with your shells what you want. You can dispel them all at the same time. This uses 2 wire bugs, and honestly it's really not worth it. The damage is pretty poor. This is a normal shelling lance that they let you use, and I was leaving a lot of damage on the table by not just doing the normal loop over and over and over again. So you use 2 wire bugs to reload in the air. It takes a really long time and is really slow. You don't really get anything out of it, so I'd much rather save it for the next Silkbind attack and for kind of just moving your character around. The next one is called Guard Edge. This kind of reinforces your character, kind of like the Charge Blade one, where you anchor yourself to the ground. This is a much shorter one. This is actually about as akin to a guard point as it gets. It's really limited time, but if the monster hits you, then you just block with little to no chip and really low recoil, but you'll also get a little bit of sharpness back, and this is very, very good because this is exactly what Gunlance needs. Don't really need to worry too much about sharpness. You get an impressive amount back, especially if you start stacking some Razor Sharp or something like that. You're not going to really need to worry about it. So I would probably recommend using your silk or your wire bugs pretty much exclusively on this, because the other one isn't really all that strong. I was really hoping for some sort of gap closer or something like that, because Gunlance just does not move around very well. So you're still better off turning around and doing back hops or hopping forward a few times, or just putting your weapon away. Bit of a heartbreaker. I wish I kind of would have seen a gap closer instead of the big Hail Cutter attack, but it is what it is, and that's all that it is. As for the other 2, it's the same one that everybody has whenever the weapon's sheathed, which just kind of launches your character up diagonally. Decent, I guess, for closing the gap, and if you want to do some of the aerial Gunlance shenanigans, that's it for you. And then the other one just kind of launches you horizontally and doesn't really do too much else. Overall impressions, I'm actually having a lot of fun with it. I really liked normal shelling at the end. The motion values seem to be good. Does an impressive amount of damage. You get a decent amount of flinch. Some of the quality of life changes when it comes to sharpness and reloading options is very welcome. As well as the instant Wyvern Stake firing up and the guard point on the big cannon charge. That's also very, very good. a lot of fun, and a lot of the things that we wanted are there. You can kind of confirm that there's going to be wide, long, and normal shelling as far as I know too, because all of those options still exist where you can charge your long shots or just slap lance with normal and stuff like that. So overall, still here with some good quality of life changes, a lot of fun, and should be pretty powerful from what I can tell. But we'll see more. Thank you so much again for watching. This has been Cups, twitch.tv/Cups. If you want to see more, like, comment, subscribe is always really appreciated, especially liking and commenting to move the algorithm forward. And make sure you share with your friends if you got any Gunlance friends and some Monster Hunter Rise fans in general. But I'm going to let the hunt go on, so feel free to watch the rest of it without me gabbing over the top of it. Can't wait to play with y'all on March 26th, and we'll see you next time.